In this video, we're going to look at the different type of features that we see on almost all kinds of volcanoes, regardless of their types. So when we're looking at volcanoes, most of them form from multiple volcanic eruptions. We'll see that there's one type of volcano that forms in a single eruption, but most of the volcanoes around the world form from multiple eruptions, where each eruption causes the volcano to grow larger in size. But we see that most volcanoes start off by a fissure, and a fissure is just going to be a break in the surface. But most volcanoes are also going to be on top of a magma chamber. This is going to be an area deep beneath the volcano where magma, molten material, is stored. And there's going to be a conduit, kind of like an elevator shaft, that's going to connect the magma chamber to the top of the volcano. And the top of this volcano is just called a vent. It's where it's going to be releasing that lava and dissolved gases whenever it eventually does erupt. But we're going to call the entire large area a volcanic cone, because it kind of looks like the shape of a safety cone that you might see when you're driving. But at the very top of our volcano, where that vent is, we're going to see a larger area called a crater. And this is going to be a depression, a bowl-shaped area at the top of the volcano that generally forms during the last eruption. At the end of the last eruption, the top of the volcano kind of collapsed downwards, forming the crater. And craters can either be kind of small in size, or they can be gigantic. And if they're gigantic, we just call them a caldera. This is going to be a crater that's just wider than a kilometer, or about a little bit bigger than, or a little bit wider than half a mile in width. But we're also going to see that on top of our volcano, we can have parasitic cones. And a parasitic cone is going to develop whenever we have a secondary vent coming from the conduit, or the central kind of shaft between the chamber and the top of the volcano. If we have some magma that breaks out of that conduit and rises to the surface in a different area, it's going to create a parasitic, or a very small cone, along the side of that volcano. And some of these parasitic cones are only going to release gas. They're not going to release any lava, and we call these fumaroles. They're just releasing fumes or gases.